we have moved to playing online via webcam. And that means that you could join the fun, find out how in the description, and you might find yourself featured on the channel. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we are jumping in with some vintage. This is the format that I have played the longest. It was my original format. Used to travel all over the place in pursuit of winnings in vintage. Mox tournaments were a weekly event. And that value was not lost on me. They are just some of the coolest, most exciting cards to play with in Magic. And Dan is going to have no shortage of them in his deck here, as he is on an outcome build. DJ, on the other hand, on Super Friends, going to have a whole bunch of Planeswalkers. So not as many zero casting cost artifacts, but he's going to have a bunch of Planeswalkers, which he's going to look to use to drag things into the deep end of the pool and eventually drown Dan in card advantage and a turn 1 Jace into a opponent that just used Merchant Scroll to find Force of Will. A bold line. And it is countered. Mana Crypt not taking damage. Dan playing the odds. Always the right play. We've got Mana Crypt into Soul Ring and passing the turn. A Ponder from DJ, looking to get back into this game as Dan has just essentially played Inspiration for less mana. Could have been better. Didn't find his second land. DJ, on the other hand, has a dual land heavy mana base to enable everything from Wrenn and 6 to Narset, Dak Faden, Jace the Mind Sculptor, possibly Chandra. I've definitely played against DJ in one of the more memorable matches where he had a turn 1 Jace and Chandra, 2 4-mana Planeswalkers, and proceeded to beat that with Dredge. He was not super thrilled about that. Two mana, floating Gush. Playing a Volcanic Island. And now Dak. Dak, a dangerous card here. That's going to result in a Force of Will. And thinking about what card he wants to pitch here, he's got a Tinker in hand. And he's going to ditch the PO, which is a draw 3. Force of Will back, pitching Time Walk. And Soul Ring goes away. Now Dak is down on counters, and Time Walk is out of the equation, so Blightsteel Colossus could possibly get there. However, Dan has Bolas's Citadel, and this game could be over right now. If he hasn't found his second land yet, this is pretty much guaranteed to do that. I didn't catch how that card got into his hand there. But he did play a fetch land. He may have... Oh, he just played it off of the Bolas's Citadel. That makes more sense. So Demonic Tutor now. Not going to be able to play more than one land per turn here. It's really the only thing that'll stop Bolas's Citadel from ripping through Dan's entire deck. A Black Lotus. Let me know what that card was. I actually didn't follow that one. We've got a Mox Sapphire and a Mox Opal, and now this looks like a Dig Through Time. Now, one thing to remember when you're playing a card like Dig Through Time, thanks to Bolas' Citadel, is when you announce the card, you put it on the stack, and then there's a card underneath. That's also an instant. You can play it in response. So you can actually get that card out of the way and not be included in your 7 cards if it's an instant. Monastery Mentor. And 3 life left to play with. Mana Vault making a body. Hercule's Recall picking up all of his artifacts, including the Bolas' Citadel. And it is just Monk City over here. It looks like Sleight of Mind. Oh, okay. It's a proxy. It's a proxy ancestral, apparently. Card looked like Sleight of Mind, which is not vintage playable. Paradoxical Outcome. And now at this point, Dan essentially just searching for a time walk. He can actually put the nail in the coffin. Very unlikely that DJ will be able to come back on his turn. But at 3 life, a Lightning Bolt would be lethal. So best to get as many counter spells or find an actual time walk and just make sure that DJ doesn't get an untap step. There's at least 13 monks here. Now 14. Oh, going down to 1. There's a lightning bolt. Oh no. Ponder. Is this lightning bolt gonna get him? And I'm not sure what that last proxy was, but that got it. So Dan, sorry I couldn't make that one out, guys. Let me know if you could figure that out in the comments, but card played there. That got DJ to scoop the game. We are on to game number 2. That lightning bolt wouldn't have been an issue if Dan had preserved his life and been able to Force of Will back. I mean, he could have had a couple of Force of Wills. Also a fine way to kind of finish out that situation is just get to the point where you have more cards in hand, more counter spells than your opponent has cards in hand, and you're probably going to be safe as well. There are some cards in Magic that could let them win, but not likely to be sleeved up in Vintage. Something like Sudden Shock is not exactly a Vintage staple. All right, so Dan going to 5, DJ on the play. As Dan won that last game with a mystery card. Probably, well, I guess it would be Time Walk. That's what he was looking for. I'm going to assume it was Time Walk, because that's what I would have been digging for. We've got a Gitaxian Probe showing Mystic Sanctuary, Flusterstorm, Red Blast, Strip Mine. Drawing off of the Probe. And we'll see if Dan tries to play a dual land first, perhaps keeping this basic island preserved in the face of future wastelands. Though honestly, if Renin 6 hits, that Strip Mine being recurred is a very, very nasty formula. Black Lotus. And not using it right away. Instead, we've got Mock Sapphire, Strip Mine for DJ. It'd be a nice time for an Oko. Oh, and just passing the turn. His mana not necessarily helping him out too much. He's got a red Elemental Blast and no red yet. And a Mana Vault. Adds to Dan's just outrageous mana here. He can hardcast Bolas' Citadel if he draws it, thanks to Lotus. Brazen Borrower going on an adventure. interesting. Is he targeting the Lotus? Because he can actually sacrifice it, and that'll end up countering this spell and making him unable to cast Brazen Borrower later. Gadaxian Probe shows Force that Lotus, and then a Lightning Bolt. Good reason to not be overly concerned about the 3/1 flyers. It can easily be removed with a Lightning Bolt later. However, Lightning Bolt also has more applications in this matchup, as you can take out things like Narset and some of these smaller Planeswalkers, though probably not Renin 6. That guy is just a huge pain. We've got a Collector Oof, Force of Will being thrown at that. Red Elemental Blast protects. And now Dan sees his Tundra Strip Mine, so his only mana source at this point, a lone island. Black Lotus not going to be helpful for the moment. 2 damage coming in. A Ponder DJ searching for a 3rd land. That would get his Brazen Borrower online in a very fast clock. Of course, it could also enable any Planeswalkers that he draws. Mystic Sanctuary, gonna have to do. Comes into play tapped. 2 more damage. Green-blue Gush. Gush along with Mystic Sanctuary, so powerful. Two more damage coming in. I do wonder what Vintage would look like with Gush Unrestricted and Mystic Sanctuary as well. Don't know if you'd actually play them in the same deck. The Gush deck very often just operating off of two lands. As a singleton, it's a very different thing. The mana bases have expanded to include all manner of Moxen and tons of extra mana sources. Back in the day, you could get away with like 18 mana sources. Jace the Mind Sculptor now, off of this floating mana. And a Fate Seal, as really at this point, Dan just has to find red mana. There's not an awful lot that's going to help him here. He doesn't have the mana in hand if he can keep him away from it. Oh, and Mana Crypt. Let's just speed this up, Dan says. How about I lose a die roll and we can just move on to the next game. Time Walk, Mystic Sanctuary, putting it back on top, and DJ says, no thank you, I will kill you without your own Mana Crypt. I'll do it the honest way. And DJ picks up the second game, forcing game 3. Where Dan now will be on the play. Alright, we've got a bunch of mulliganing there from DJ, but Dan's leading out. Cracking his fetch land on the first turn, indicating he's got some type of fireworks here. Fetching up a Volcanic Island. Sensei's Top. Ponder. Ancestral Recall. Pretty big range in terms of the potential power level here. And it's going to be a Proxy Ancestral Recall. Gataxian Probe takes a look at Dan's hand, which is a dangerous one. We got Snapcaster to replay this Ancestral, but also the potential to tinker very quickly. A land, Mox Sapphire, Mox Opal. Oh, and he drew an Emerald for turn. He's going to be able to tinker with Reb backup. What a disaster. Force pitching, Force Dan. Going to be throwing a Pyroblast at this Reb. And now he's going to Time Walk just to get an extra card in hand. Got a Tinker pitching that Mox Opal. Grabbing Bolas's Citadel. And he has not played a land yet this turn, so it's going to take some pretty bad luck for Dan to not get there. Gonna Pyroblast just to play it off the top. Yeah, some of these proxies are killing me. We do allow 15 proxies on our vintage events, and collector's edition / gold border cards do not count toward that limit. So if you have CE cards, just basically play them like the real thing, just like an old school. Mox Jet adds to Dan's mana. A Dig Through Time. A whole lot of life being paid there. Dan down to 4. Really the risky thing, so to speak, there is just losing the ability to play more stuff off the top of the deck. He gets 2 in hand. Lightning Bolts DJ going down to 3. Plays a Mana Crypt. Mana Vault. And it's going to be time for a PO. At least 7 cards here. At this point, I'd strongly consider bouncing the Bolas's Citadel as well for the extra card. It's not as likely you're going to be able to gain any type of advantage off of it. Moving forward with only 3 life, it's really just the 0 casting cost artifacts that you'll be able to play off of it. Though here, Dan makes quick use of that, being able to put back 2 0 casting cost artifacts and just play them right off the top. Oh! Well, that was wrong. There's no way that was right. Fair enough. So he Demonic Tutors, shuffles away 2 cards, which I disagree with. A Monastery Mentor, and now building a whole army of monks. Mana Vault, Sensei's Divining Top. Top very good with Bolas's Citadel, able to clear anything off of the top and also filter into those other 0 casting cost cards. A Snapcaster for Time Walk, and that should do it. On the next turn, he'd be able to play that Mana Vault and get the extra damage across the board from the Exalted triggers. And Dan takes that one down in explosive fashion versus the Super Friends list. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.